Hi, my name is Kristian James. I am the Business Intelligence and Analytics Manager at Sparex. Sparex is based in the UK, in Devon. We've been here since about 1960. We sell spare parts to the agriculture industry, ranging from tractor engines to broom handles, nuts and bolts and anything you can think of, power tools, the whole works. We have subsidiaries in multiple countries. My role is to help streamline the data flow for all of our departments, and that ranges from an Excel file once a week to an automated report that gets emailed to their inbox however they need it. It could be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, but we make sure that they've got everything they need, and we make sure that the data that they get is trustworthy, honest, accurate, and ready for them to use, so that they can then take their experience and their analysis to use that data to make actionable decisions. Whilst I started at the company in 2017, Zoho came into play at Sparex in 2016, so there wasn't much of a business intelligence sort of team much before my time. But what I've heard from other employees who were here before me, it wasn't a great level of data accuracy. There's a lot of mistrust in the data, and a lot of the meetings that happened, a lot of time within those meetings was spent asking questions about where the data came from and how accurate is it. And then there would be a discussion between what data was right, because different departments were getting different numbers, and then that meeting would not come to full fruition with the decisions they needed to make. They'd have to go back and find that data again and work with more people and more departments to find the answer. Since we've had Zoho, that's obviously rectified those problems. So we've got those 18 different markets which use different systems. They all have about 4 or 5 different systems, and then we take through our staging area all of the data for those systems, all through then into Zoho Analytics, so that for our head office they're all looking at the same type of report for all 18 different subsidiaries. They don't have to go to 18 different places to get the numbers. They can come to this one single place of truth to get all the information they need for our global picture. And we had one meeting where one department who didn't have access to Zoho at the time kept seeing Zoho's graphs and images come up all the time, and they didn't know where it was coming from. They went away and tried to replicate that in Excel or whatever software it was to try and get the same sort of feel to their presentation, but they couldn't do it. Once we started working with them and they saw it was Zoho that was doing it, they were like, this is the tool that we need. This is the tool that everybody else in Sparex has. It was a really sought after point of view from them to mimic what everybody else was doing. And it was a really good feeling when we were able to do that with them. So through Zoho Analytics, we have around about 190 users at the moment. We have about 30 million rows of data being used. We have about 2,000 pivot tables, 4,000 query tables, hundreds of dashboards. And whilst a small team obviously manages that, because most of those are the same sort of layout, it's quite easily maintained. We have to multiply our query tables because of the 18 different markets that we've got to deal with, because each market wants their data in their own language. So we take one query table and multiply it by 18 to get the different languages for everybody. So everything's still the same. We also have 30 email schedules going out every day. We also have several alerts going out not only through emails, but all through direct into Teams. So it can come direct to their normal conversational tool, and it pops up on their screen. And with that, it generates a link as well, so the users can click the link and they're taken direct to Zoho Analytics to see the report that made that alert. Zoho's great because it's a cloud-based tool. Everybody can use it at any time in the day and access from anywhere. And we currently use a white label version of Sparex, so we've got our own branding on there for our users, so they see it all as Sparex branded everywhere. So whenever they take screenshots, you've got the Sparex logo and everything as well. Every day we have our new data from the day before uploaded to Zoho. Our process starts at 7 AM and is finished by 8:30 in the morning, and that's using the Zoho data bridge that we have. We can now upload about 15 million rows in an hour and a half. With the data bridge running everything before we even start our day, it means that we can come into the office and start our new tasks, our new projects, because we know that everything has gone well. We check for failures and everything in the morning. There's not normally any from the data bridge side. And then we can start our day. And with the knowledge that everything's worked in the morning, we know also that our automated emails and scheduled emails and alerts have gone out already to everybody that needs them. Even with the 15 million rows going up every day, I'm very confident with the accuracy of the data going to Zoho. not only because of the dedicated team that we've got checking the data, but we also have a dashboard purposely built to check the accuracy of our data. It checks to how many rows have gone up, so we can check that against the average. If there's been too many or too few, we can look into that. But we can check our own report in the morning from a BI's perspective to make sure that the data that everybody else gets is accurate. With the historical issues that we had with data accuracy, a big part of BI's job is to make sure that all of our data is accurate and consistent, so that when our users, our colleagues, come and get access to the data, they know that they can just come in, snapshot the data, get in, get out what they need, and carry on with their job. And most of the time they may come in and take screenshots and put it in a PowerPoint presentation, and we actually have lots of comments and lots of feedback from different departments going, oh, that's where the data comes from, that's where that chart comes from, because so much of that now is being used through Zoho. We also use it as a data visualization tool, so that we've got other ways of showing the data rather than just an Excel spreadsheet or a pivot table. Not only does Zoho have pivot tables, but we've got charts and graphs of various kinds. We have a map chart, we use bar charts, line graphs, lots of different options, pie charts, all the ones you can think of are on there, plus a few more, lots of different ways to show our data. With our dashboards, we try and make it so that our users come in and they just look at one screen, hopefully no scrolling. They look in, they see one screen, they've got every bit of KPI and information they need, and then they make their decisions with that data. Historically, a lot of our data was prepared and used using Microsoft Excel, which is a fine tool in itself, but through Zoho we found that there's a lot more stability with it, a lot more data cleanliness was there, a lot more user-friendliness was there through Zoho. The drag and drop feature for making pivots and charts and dashboards is so simple to use, and we found that once we've made everything through self-serve, we've done an initial training session, but then a very little follow-up with everybody. However, with Excel, we still get phone calls, how do I do this or how do I do that? So Zoho is just really easy to use. One of my favorite features with Zoho Analytics is the dashboarding tool. It means you can just pull in multiple facets of information and you can display them in different ways. You can have pivot tables next to graphs, next to pie charts, next to widgets, next to a title. With the user filters as well, it means you've got everything in one place. And they're so easy to build now as well with the drag and drop feature. And also there's a tool where you can copy dimensions. So if you want your pivot table to be the same size as your chart, you can do that with a couple of clicks of the button. It's so easy. Another amazing feature of Zoho Analytics is the security and the permissions and variables feature. So it means that when we've got a set of data which has multiple staff information in there, and we want to share that information to those staff, we can then apply a permission variable, and then when that staff member logs in with their email address, they will only see their own data. So when Dave Jones logs in, he will only see Dave's data, and then when Jeff Smith logs in, he will only see Jeff's data, and neither of the two will see each other's data. We have full control over who can do what within Zoho Analytics. One thing that I stress to everybody when I give them access to Zoho is that you cannot break this tool. We are giving it to you in a way where you can click buttons and drag and drop things wherever you want to do. You may get a warning message when you put something in the wrong box or something, which is, you can't avoid that, but you can't break it. You can't mess up the data. The data is there, it's true, and it's good to go, safe to use. The sharing feature within Zoho is amazing. We can set up automated schedules with a few clicks of a button, and then we never have to worry about it again. We know that it's always going to go off to the person that needs it. There's even extra features in there where you can say if don't send it if there's no data. So if there's missing data for a week, or maybe it's a data that said they might not have data that week and it doesn't send it. And there's also an option where we can get CC'd on the email so we can check if it's going out as well. So many different features, and it means that we don't have to worry about making sure if the person's got the email, because we just know it's going to work. Thanks to Zoho, we can set up one data set with multiple salesperson's information in, and we can just then share that out in one go. We don't have to make separate reports for each individual sales representative. So in France, for example, we have about 10 sales reps. We can just share it once to the France sales group and we're done. We don't have to make 10 separate reports. With the self-service tool through Zoho, we're able to empower our users to gather the data themselves. Whereas obviously previously when we were in the office, they used to be able to walk up to my desk and ask me for the information. With the self-service tool, they can now go and get it whenever they want, wherever they are. There's no bottleneck through BI anymore. All of our users can now check the raw data, build pivots, charts and dashboards all by themselves. We hosted a few training sessions for all of our different countries, and they are now self-serving their own report requests. And we have probably 1 or 2 a week now, if that, of individual report requests, whereas before we did the self-service, we were getting 1 or 2 every few hours. A recent case study that we've had with Zoho Analytics is we had a colleague of mine come up to me and they mentioned they had an Excel file. They had multiple tabs with multiple source data sets. And each of those tabs had then there was another tab which had graphs on it, and she was struggling to find a way to make the data visually appealing to her team. So I introduced her to Zoho and how it could take on all of her reporting. So we now have one master data set for her reporting. It covers all of the information that she needs. It automatically links to pivot tables, charts and dashboards, and it is now ready for her presentations whenever she needs them. Another project we looked at through Zoho is our non-moving or slow-moving parts. So we looked at any product that was in stock, hadn't sold in a certain time period, and Zoho was able to identify all of those products. We then entered a calculation into that data set as well. It was then able to recommend a new price to sell for these products. From there, those parts started selling. We've now sold about $1.4 million worth of parts that we never sold before. Thanks to the work that we've put in through Zoho, we've been able to make the data quality analyst role, which was previously mine when I first started here, it's now gone. It used to be 40 hours a week checking system after system after system to make sure all 3 lined up. We have automated processes for that now, and I spend a few minutes of my week now looking at that rather than 40 hours a week. The feedback we've received about Zoho from our users has been outstanding. One user, in fact, was showing a new colleague around, and he introduced himself to me and to the BI department. And his introduction to us was, this is where the magic software exists that makes the numbers happen. And to have that, seen from BI is amazing. To be the magic department, it was incredible.